here. This is going to be a battle report number 4, 750 points, Germany versus America. And this is my list here. It's got a armored car with a light autocannon and a coaxial medium machine gun. It's open top. It's got a half track. And actually gonna load up a lot of things into the half track. I got a medium anti-tank gun, a heavy mortar, inexperienced with a spotter, a medium machine gun team, 2 inexperienced Volkssturm infantry units with 2 submachine guns and 2 Panzerfaust. I have a Panzerschreck 2-man group, a lieutenant with the +1, and then a unit of 6 pioneers, all with submachine guns and a flamethrower. So that's what I've got. The scenario that we rolled up is the secret mission, secret plans, try to capture the secret plans. We had already put the board together and pretty much ended up like that. We were planning to make a crossroads. I got roads coming in from both sides, and then odds and end buildings. We put that destroyed Panzer in the middle, which is where the secret plans are going to be. So on the left side there, we got some woods, a destroyed house, a couple destroyed houses, some hedges, and then on the right side of my board here, another destroyed house, and there's a wheat field with some hedges around it and a stone wall running along the long ways. My opponent had won the roll for table side, and I win the roll for first spotter, so it doesn't really matter. Put a spotter here in this broke down building. He's going to try to keep an eye on his side of the board. And then he's got a forward air observer and a spotter for a medium howitzer. And he puts them both in that house right there. So he gets first dice and brings on his heavy howitzer, or medium howitzer. And I put my mortar there because where he's at, I couldn't see him with my spotter. I want my mortar to be able to shoot at that. And then I bring on a medium machine gun team, and so he ends up right there. And then he starts bringing infantry, brings infantry in behind the house there, regular infantry. And I don't get my reserves in. All these have to roll for reserves. They don't come in, so they get a down dice on them. The whole half track full of everybody doesn't come in, so it goes down. And then my inexperienced Volkssturm squad doesn't come in, so they go down. And then he rolls and brings on his engineers. Engineers move up across the wheat field towards this building. He's got a flamethrower in there. Then his Jeep comes up here behind the statue. He's got a medium machine gun on there. And then I just start putting dice down on these guys that are kind of trapped in the half track anyway. And then he does not get his lieutenant on. So that's one thing. He does have the huge advantage here with these rolls because he doesn't take the -1. And I'm just kind of now stalling to see where his tank goes. So every dice I'm picking, I'm putting on those units that can't do anything anyway. And he uses a fire order for his forward air observer, and he calls an airstrike down on my medium machine gun. So medium machine gun's not looking like they're going to be too happy here soon. And then I failed to get this Volkssturm unit on, so they're also off the board. So I hardly got anything on board so far. Sherman he declares it's in reserve, so he puts a dice on it. It's going to try to move up the side. And I do get my armored car on, so my armored car comes in here in advance and fires a shot at his howitzer, and I am able to hit once out of twice, and I only do 1 wound. So that's pretty much overview of turn 1, and we'll go to a little bit of video. At the end of turn 1, Germans only got 3 things on the board. Get the mortar, the armored car, and a machine gun team. The Allies got most everything. The Sherman's in reserve anyway, moving up the edge of the board. And the only thing he didn't get in was his lieutenant. It's Alan, it's my opponent. Any thoughts?
Yes, we have vehicles matching up against each other, and one does not look happy.
Yeah, well, my big thing was my half track not getting in. Otherwise, I'd already be dominating the center of the board. But, alright, going to turn 2. As the first order dice for turn 2, he fires his howitzer at my armored car. I elect not to reseat back. I could have, but I'm trying to keep my options open. Fortunately for me, he misses. His next order dice, he gets his lieutenant to come on the board, and he runs in to a little bit behind that squad there. Then I go ahead and fire my mortar, and I'm firing at his howitzer. And I figure he's going to be moving his howitzer, or force him to, so I start firing at that. And I miss my first shot. So I was tempted to kind of shoot that infantry engineer battalion, but I wanted to start zeroing in on that howitzer. I placed my cannon in ambush, and then he moves his infantry squad, advances them over the edge of that woods, and he moves his engineer battalion squad into that building. So he's nudging in on the secret plans. His jeep zooms back behind me and fires away with his medium machine gun. And since I'm open top, I actually take a pin marker, and that's annoying. I'm able to bring my half track in this turn, so I drive it right up to the jeep. Because I advance, I can move 18 inches on the road, and I medium machine gun the jeep, and I'm able to remove that. Needed a 6 to wound it, but I got it. So, and then I fail an order check with my regular truck because of that pin marker, and I have to go back a few inches. And then he's just putting his next dice on his tank, which is still in reserve. And then I advance my Pioneer unit, or I run them out of the vehicle and into the building. And then I run my lieutenant out into the building. Oh, also he had killed that medium machine gun at the beginning of turn 2 with his airstrike, killed it. So, and then I pull another dice and I run these inexperienced Volkssturm up there behind that rock, kind of across from the engineers. These guys fail to come in. And then in the center, I go ahead and I advance my or run my Panzerschreck team to grab the secret plans. And then his artillery forward air observer calls an airstrike on the Panzerschreck team. So I got a chance if it doesn't come in to start heading towards the board edge and maybe hand it off to a unit that's not going to get killed by the airstrike. But yeah, that's the overview, and then we'll do a quick little video. That's what the board looks like. It's the end of turn 2. Was able to get almost everything on except for one unit of inexperienced infantry. Starting to get dicey in the middle. Got engineers in there. Got some engineers in there for me. Got a squad across from there. My Panzerschreck unit was able to get to the token, but they just got an airstrike called in on them. So we'll see what happens to them. Then they got the Sherman still coming in on a flanking maneuver, be coming in next turn. So, any thoughts?
I hope it comes on next turn. You know, as long as it passes its test. And the airstrike is looking like it's going to matter a lot. There's a lot of things within 12 inches. A lot of pins going to go on. I've got 2 units within 12. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units within 12.
So that last turn too with that medium machine gun, since that's an open top armored car, I was able to put a pin on it. Thought that was kind of interesting. I failed my order check. I would have normally not had to take an order check. So that was an interesting development.
Yeah. So I think turn 3 is where everything will really start to, as you said, get bloody.
Yeah. All right. We'll see what happens. So starting off turn 3, the Panzerschreck team gets destroyed by the air. Put a couple pins on a few things around there. Mainly, what didn't get a pin was my engineers or his engineers. So it looks like his howitzer takes a shot, and he shoots at my armored car, and I go ahead and do re-see back this turn. So I re-see out of the way, so nothing for the howitzer to shoot at. But I have to put my armored car down. Here I'm just on ambush, waiting to see if the tank comes in, because the tank can come in this turn. I move these guys. I elect to not go crazy with them, and I move them a little bit behind this ruined building. And he pushes up in there with his squad, going after the plans, but he didn't run. He just advanced and started shooting into the building. His lieutenant runs into the building there, and he did no wounds to my engineer team. So I come out, advance, let go with the flamethrower and a bunch of submachine guns, and I actually disappointingly don't do a whole lot of damage. He had a pin on him already because of he had 2 pins from the airstrike, but I'm able to put only 2 more pins on him. I rolled 2 for my flamethrower and only 1 extra pin, but I'm able to, I think, kill just 1 man, and I totally rolled horribly with my submachine guns. Here comes the tank. Sherman's on board, and he had broke down coming on his right side, my left, so that's not too good. I'm not sure that's. Oh, he shoots at my armored car and he blows it up. So he's able to shoot my armored car, and it's destroyed. I didn't have a reseat. I'd already moved it away from the howitzer. So I fired my mortar at his howitzer, and needing a 5 this turn, and I miss with a 1. And no, that's just my mortar team right there, zeroing in on the howitzer. And I do finally get to bring my other infantry unit in, so they come up the other side of the hedgerow here. So I got the two inexperienced units there, and then my half track fails its check, had an enemy in the front arc, and it has to back up. And he comes out with his engineers and starts firing at my lieutenant. My lieutenant had moved onto the objective, so he kills the lieutenant with a flamethrower and shooting, and then that's where we end the turn. Alright, that ends turn 3. The Sherman came in, and he's got a lot going on in the middle. I've thrown away a couple small units trying to pick up that secret plans to start running, but they keep dying every time somebody grabs it. So we got some pin markers on his 1 unit. Engineers are kind of out in the open. Forward observers running over here. Look, he wants to try to pick that secret plan up. He don't have any airstrikes left. I got still quite a bit of stuff in the center here. I got a couple of inexperienced guys on my half track, but it really can't do anything without people on board. But so that's that turn. What are your thoughts, Alan?
The center is looking okay for me, even with the pin. My lieutenant's in cover, but within 6 inches to help out. The tank coming in, that's going to help me some, I hope. But yeah, it's getting congealed in the center, and we'll see what happens. Turn 5. Turn 4 is just going to be bloodbath, and then you see what happens turn 5.
Yeah, I was a little disappointed at my shooting against that unit. Rolled poorly on the flamethrower, and then I missed or hit, but didn't kill anybody with the submachine guns.
Right.
And then his flamethrower did thankfully run out of fuel, so they're basically a overpriced rifle unit now. So, all right, going into turn 4. He pulls the first dice. He advances his engineer squad up. Captures the token, and he fires at my my engineers, but he only kills 1. He rolled 1 hit with his flamethrower, and then rolled crappy for the rest of his stuff, needing 5s to kill with his normal guns. So then at my Volkstrom, charge him, get him in the side. That's what I roll to wound, and I end up wiping out the whole unit. Not only do I wipe out the whole unit, but I get to reconsolidate, and I roll a 6. So I reconsolidate way back here, out of line of fire of the Sherman. So that was a huge turn of events. That close assault, and then the runaway. He fires his howitzer at these guys, and he misses, thankfully, because I didn't even look at that. Totally didn't think about the howitzer. My engineer squad pulls the next dice, and I let these guys have it, and I'm able to destroy them. Between the flamethrower check and all those pins I stuck on there, they're destroyed. So, yay for my engineers. Here, I just advance these guys into this building, because now it's like I'm looking at the Sherman, and the Sherman and the howitzer are the only things that can try to stop these guys. I use a run order to reposition my anti-tank gun, which my anti-tank gun did actually shoot its ambush at his forward air observer when he ran out of there, but That's his forward air observer there, putting a couple shots. I did that the turn before, but I repositioned it. And I'm able to hit with my mortar, but I only kill 2 more guys. So he's got 1 guy left. So I have -1 to hit with me, firing at me. And his tank advances to there, comes up to the side, and fires a HE shot, and he rolls a 2 and misses. So, wow, that was good. And here he kills 1 man with his lieutenant, I believe. Shoots out the building windows, and is able to put another pin on and kill a guy. And then my truck drives over here, just trying to use it as a as some like cover for my guys as they try to head for the table edge. So that's the end of the turn, and quick video. We'll be back to it. Alright, it's the end of turn 4. It was super intense. My hands were shaking at one point. I actually was bummed when he got the first dice and moved those engineers out and started shooting up I think the guys up there. Well, he had them there, and he got the first order and was able to capture the token. But it actually worked out for me because my inexperienced guys assaulted him and killed him.
To a man.
Yeah, if I would have went first, I wouldn't have done that. I would have just started shooting at the guys. And so, anyway, it worked out real well. So I got a Sherman here. Can't really do anything to it. I just got to try to avoid it and get this dice. Well, I guess I got a couple Panzerfaust, so maybe I'll get lucky and get a hit and knock that dude out. But luck's been kind of going my way. In the middle here, the Pioneer unit's just kind of standing fast. Observer killed a guy.
Pins.
Yeah. So flamethrower still has fuel in it.
Yeah.
So that's good. This here I didn't even think about. I didn't think about it again when I moved my transport. He's got that howitzer. I did hit it with my mortar, but yeah. So what are your thoughts? Oh, I got my tank gun still.
It's the only thing that I can do at this point is possibly get this to be a draw. If I can eliminate the unit that's got the secret plans,
yeah, keep it from getting off the board. That's the only chance I've got. It's far enough away I can't reach it in 2 turns, let alone get it back off my side. So playing for a draw now. Yeah. I was kind of surprised you went that way with your Sherman.
Yeah,
figured he was just going to drive.
That was a tactical blunder on my part.
Yeah, you forgot about road movement.
Right.
He would have got to advance pretty far up.
But it's kind of 6 of one, half dozen the other. Had I advanced here and shot, I wouldn't have had 2 shots the coming turn, because now I got the howitzer and I'll have the tank.
Can drive and shoot them. Yeah, that's true.
So I guess in hindsight, that's not as huge a blunder as what I initially thought. However, it's probably a mistake.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
Because
I could next turn have moved.
We got turn 5 and 6 still, and then maybe a turn 7. So we'll see how it goes.
Absolutely.
Oops. Turn 1, I was hoping to fire my mortar at him first, but he actually pulls the first dice, fires his howitzer at my infantry unit, and he misses. So that was awesome. That lets me kind of, when I pull my next dice, I can do whatever I want. And I go ahead and I fire my 2 Panzerfaust at his Sherman. I'm like right at 6 inches, so still needing like 4s to hit or something. I'm able to hit with 1 of the 2. And I roll a 2 and immobilize it. So I didn't destroy it, but I immobilized it. My next dice, put it on my mortar, and I need like 3s to hit, and I miss. I roll a 1 against his howitzer. He fires, or he tries to activate his Sherman to fire it, and he rolls an 11. So it doesn't activate, and it can't go backwards because it's immobilized. I run these guys to the side of the board. 1 more turn, and they're going to be off. He's got basically a howitzer shot at them, and then he's got a tank that can probably shoot at him. Here I'm just I think I fail an order check. Here I fail an order check. I was going to move that half track to block up the shooting for both units, but it doesn't do anything. And here he just puts another pin on my Pioneers with his forward observer. And then we got the overview here, and it's basically going to come down to who pulls the next dice. He actually has, if he gets a pin on me, you know, it can keep me from going off. All right, into turn 5. Knocked out that Sherman, or immobilized it, I should say.
Yeah.
But then I was not able to move my half track. I was kind of going to use it to block from that howitzer. Wasn't able to knock the howitzer out. I failed my check there by 1. Otherwise, I could have, I think, flamethrower torched the lieutenant. I really want to just clear off another order dice to give me an advantage. If I can pull the first dice next turn, I'll just run off the board.
Right.
If I don't, then he's got some shots at me. And I'm inexperienced, so if he just puts 1 pin on me, who knows what I'll do.
Right. So. I need the first 2 order dice to come out for me.
Yeah. And you've got,
see what goes on.
You've got 4 to my 6, I think. So the odds are in my favor, but who knows? I mean, if I could have knocked 1 more dice off, it would have been nice. But and my anti-tank gun almost hit the Sherman.
Almost.
He's pulled down and needed a 6. I rolled a 5.
Right.
And then, so going into turn 6, it could be the end of the game here. We'll see.
We'll see who gets the first dice.
Yeah. I pull the first dice and I run off the board with the secret plans. So I have to say, all in all, it's a pretty enjoyable, intense kind of game. It was really fun. It really came down to that central close combat by my Volkstrom. I don't think he really thought about that. He had killed my lieutenant, and then he just moved up and picked up the token, and he shot very poorly that turn, also against my engineers. But I don't think he even thought about the Volkstrom bum rushing him, and that was huge. And I rolled super great, and him not being a veteran, I was winning him on a 4, and he didn't have any submachine guns in there. Well, not that I gave him a chance to even strike back, but yeah, that was a pretty intense game. It was anyone's game for a little bit there. Those airstrikes are brutal. Luckily for me, I'm kind of glad my stuff was delayed coming on, because if I would have got pins on my Volkstrom, it would have been a totally different game. I would have spent the whole middle of the game trying to get them to move. But thanks for watching.